Let's take a look at some information and charts on Chainlink for Brave New Coin. So Chainlink is an Oracle network that, according to Chainlink, provides reliable tamper-proof inputs and outputs for complex smart contracts. Basically interoperability. It allows DeFi to exist at the end of the day. I love these quotes down here that I never read before. This is from Andre Vierne. Our team can sleep peacefully at night because we've shifted all of our Oracle worries onto Chainlink. So the question becomes, what are you buying? What are you selling? Is it a productive asset? In Chainlink's case, are you just buying a backbone of DeFi? If DeFi looks ready to roll over like it does, is that bearish for Chainlink? I mean, it should be. You can always look at visually, again, what this represents. We're just calling APIs or oracles or data from anywhere, putting it into a blockchain, allowing it to talk to another blockchain, or in ERC20 or a smart contract or whatever. It is multi-chain, which is bullish for Link in the long term. But if nobody cares about DeFi, if everybody's sour on it, etc., it's not necessarily going to matter whether or not we're getting a ton of Oracle calls, or you still need Chainlink as a backbone of the entire ecosystem, even if the number goes down, right? But for me, the whole existence of Chainlink is about number go up mentality and Marines, and very much reminds me of the Ripple people. But as it stands now, I don't believe there's any staking. There's no reason to hold it besides assuming you can sell it at a higher price at a later date. I mean, that's most of crypto, to be fair, but Link had a good run, Here's the token supply. Who's selling? Smart Contract Limited, the parent company of Chainlink, and we can say there's an implicit contract with the community about selling Chainlink. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Maybe it's out there, but I can see the on-chain movements for Link, and this is per month. They've continued to ramp it up. They finally started decreasing the sales in May. Maybe somebody tapped him on the shoulder and said, hey, probably shouldn't be selling as we're going down. It's a lot more impactful on the market. You can calculate the notional impact. You can calculate percentage of monthly volume, and you can rationalize it and say it's nothing, but it's a signal that the company behind Link continues to sell as fast and as furiously as they can. So do I think Link's going to be around forever? Probably. As long as crypto exists, Link is going to exist. Does that mean the price of the Link token is going to do well? Not necessarily, and these people clearly don't think so. Why would you be locking in profits if you think this is going higher? I don't know, again, what their contract is with the community regarding their sales, but there's no vesting document or lock-in period that I can ever find. So if you know about that, let me know. And maybe the bottom of price is when this selling goes to zero. Maybe they stop everything next month. I don't know, but all I know is what I can see. And they've sold a substantial amount of notional value here, and they still hold 20% of the supply, and they can continue dripping this for the next 2 or 3 years at the current pace. So keep that in mind when you're looking at the charts I'm about to show at the end and thinking this doesn't look so bullish. Don't worry, there's someone dumping every other day or every day based on on-chain movements. The whales being Smart Contract Limited. Here's the number of Oracle calls. I don't know enough about APIs and Link and Oracle calls to necessarily say this looks bearish, but you'd expect calls to continue to increase over time. Now, I don't know if this is a scaling thing that was changed, or they're just less Link calls. People are using other oracles. I don't know. Maybe this is why price stagnated at some point. This is just speculation here, but Oracle calls are certainly down from the highs, the all-time highs. But if I'm trying to get some useful metric as far as who's using the chain on aggregate, or who's using oracles for Link on aggregate, it looks like those are down over the past few months, definitely ranging. But it's something to look into. If you're a service that does X, how useful is that service to DeFi as a whole? Here's transaction counts for the token, as well as average transaction values, and transaction counts continue to decline. Almost to multi-month lows at this point, basically December 2020 lows with transaction counts. Again, maybe there's a scaling thing here. I'm not exactly sure, but it's definitely different from post June 2020 and down pretty significantly from August 2020 a high of 25,000 transactions. So some of this is, probably most of this is speculation, let's be honest here, but in general, if you're bullish anything, you want transaction counts up and to the right. Average transaction values have fallen off as well. And that link selling is going to be factored in here. Smart contract limited link token selling more specifically is going to be factored into this here, and it's down from all-time highs along with price. So this in general is mainly just a function of price and volatility, but we saw a large on-chain movements in leading up to May 18th, basically. So none of that is exactly bullish. Active addresses just getting slaughtered. Again, nothing you want to see. You don't want to see transactions and active addresses declining if you're bullish on anything. And across the board, active addresses and transaction counts are declining right now. NVT, which is an inverse metric of economic utility, continues to climb or fall lower, basically to all-time lows. And NVT looks like this for a lot of tokens, even though it doesn't necessarily make too much sense. I feel like there's a lot of on-chain activity relative to market cap because price is so high. So I've never really liked NVT. I just kind of look at it because everybody else does. For me, I'd rather look at MVRV, which is market cap versus realized cap. Realized cap is on-chain activity. And if we map this out with price, the previous all-time highs, MVRV has exceeded 5, ranged between 5 or 6, and that's been the top basically. So market cap has been 5x on-chain activity at the highs is another way you can think about that. And at these highs, it kind of didn't do much of anything. We were at 5, an MVRV of 5 when price was at 33, but when price was at 48, MVRV was down pretty significantly, and now it's down to, what is that, multi-month lows again? Almost to the March 20 lows. So if I'm trading off MVRV, I'm thinking, okay, still a lot of on-chain activity relative to price. This is oversold, just like NVT. So I guess depending on how you want to slice that, it'll look better than the price chart certainly does. This is Google Trends for Chainlink, and it's basically zero prior to 2019. So most of this is probably crypto Chainlink and not like Chainlink Fence or something worldwide. And Google Trends down significantly, basically to those November, December 2020 lows, just like on-chain activity. And again, you don't want to be bullish when we're seeing less retail, basically less exuberance. Googling what is Chainlink, where is Chainlink, why is Chainlink, what is the price, blah, 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 right? Like all that's going to be seen on these Google Trends, and that's down significantly since May, significantly since February. So nothing too bullish there. If we switch to technicals, this is the DeFi perp. This is a DeFi index on FTX, and this looks like it's ready for a complete retracement to the January open, which is around 2,500. We can paint this in all sorts of ways. It's broken a range, it's broken VPVR support. It is below the 200-day moving average. It's setting up for a death cross on the 200-day. Volume starting to pick up slightly to the downside, and there's a slight bullish divergence here. So I think the end is near, the capitulative end is near, but this could drag out for 3 months. This could bull div for 3 months and then finally find a bottom. But I think ultimately it's going to wick down, definitely below 5K, probably wick to 3K on the index. So if all of DeFi is sick, then Link will not be spared. This is the moving average multiplier, 365. The 1-year MA basically is down here in the green. This is 5 times the 1-year MA up top. And you can see, just like MVRV, we didn't quite get to that oversold territory at the top. Maybe this is related to that Link company token selling, where that was just an added selling pressure. Now it's not enough to like sell this off to zero, but once we hit that equilibrium sweet spot, we're going to stop increasing at that point. In a vacuum, you could say, okay, we're below the 1-year MA historically with an N of 2. That's been a buy. Another way you could look at this is maybe this is the first significant bear trend for Link ever. It got listed, it was flat, and then it took off in 2019. So maybe this needs some time. I think bottom line is none of this stuff's going to moon without you. It's going to be obvious when these metrics flip bullish again. That's why I look at them every month. And transaction counts are going to turn up eventually. Active addresses are going to turn up eventually. Oracle's counts will turn up. Google Trends. None of that stuff is bullish right now. Here's the 3-day. anything that looks good on the moving average multiplier will have a pitchfork associated with it. And again, it's going to be the first print ever below this pitchfork. Pick 3 points to get a rate of change. You can see how it's hugged this midline. This has been really the best looking pitchfork in all of crypto as far as duration is concerned. So the fact that it's really breaking this in a serious way for the first time is concerning. I like 10 based on yearly pivots here, which is almost a 50% decline. And below that, it's $1.60. I don't think we go that low, at least this year. But again, very clearly not in the pitchfork anymore, not in the bull zone. We did get to the oversold area though, unlike the moving average multiplier. So maybe you hate pitchforks. I don't. I like them. Or sorry, overbought up here. Overbought, oversold. Again, you could say this is oversold and hope that this bounces back to the midline or higher. But it's definitely the biggest risk-reward area if you believe in the power of the fork. This is the 5200 on the daily, and it's been bullish since 2019. All this stuff kind of tells you the same thing. It's basically bounce or die very soon. It's never been as bearish as it looks or is starting to look in the past 2 years. So I like 10, I like 5, I like 4, I like $1.60. I like whatever the volume is telling you. That's been the consolidation zone between $1.20 and $4 is like fair price maybe on the way down. If this is a multi-year bear market, then that's where we're going 100%. I don't think we wick that low easily, but I do like 10 within the next 3 months. In the next 3 months, this is the cloud. Cloud told you to get out a month ago in May, and it's been nothing but doom and death and devastation ever since then. Very clearly was bullish above the cloud, and it's going to be bearish below. There is a bit of a TKC clamp here suggestive of oversold conditions, along with a subtle and tiny but growing bullish divergence. Really, this hasn't hit the oversold on RSI since mid to late 2020. I mean, it's due for some pullback in a big way, and I think we're seeing that play out. Here's Link-BTC. Historically, it's done really well with these reversal patterns, both bullish and bearish. Inverted head and shoulders, Adam and Eve, head and shoulders, Adam and Eve here. And it just didn't go anywhere. This chart just looks untradeable, really. I mean, who wants to trade this? This chop has been epic, and it's ready to set in another death cross after the first one in late 2020. And VPVR is telling you support is much lower. Monthly pivot support is much lower. More than a 50% decline is possible, certainly in this, based on TA supports. Link-BTC on the cloud is a giant mess on the daily. I really don't have anything to say, but it's below the cloud, again, bearish. I can't look at anything and see bullishness in any of this. Here's Link ETH, and ever since that death cross in late 2020, when it was below the cloud, it's just been climbing those stairs down. It attempted a multi-month consolidation from January to May, and that was unsuccessful. So the lower it goes, ultimately supports all the way back to kind of the 2019 open around 0044. For BTC, that would be 23,000 sats or lower probably. So I'm talking deep wicks, deep cuts lower, subtle bull div here growing. Volume still nothing. It's really the bottom line. Once the volumes start to pick up, then you'll know that we're starting to capitulate, but right now people are just turning bearish. They're not saying it's over, I hate this, I'm going back to whatever. People are still a little too optimistic, I think. Lastly, I'll mention the ETH-BTC fund and DeFi portfolio on Enzyme.finance. I trade for Techemy Capital. This is a non-custodial portfolio management tool. You can see AUM allocations, trades, deposits, withdrawals. And today I shifted everything into Aave USDC for the foreseeable future. We had a chance to semi-bottom over the past week, and that just failed miserably. So back to stablecoins we go. That's all I have for this one. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe, and happy trading.